maybe a little bit slower, maybe a little bit colder, but then again, you go back to the previous result, didn't look like anything was off.
Well, that's kind of the cool thing is, you know, some of these teams coming in as legends are going to look a little bit haggard in their first few maps back, and you can't take too much away from that because there is still a sense, and this is why there's a conversation buzzing around the timing of when these majors are, that teams are playing themselves back into shape at a certain point in some of these early group stage matches and these early legend stage matches. Either way, all that gets thrown out the window. Doesn't matter what the excuse is, what the problem is, you just got to win. Both these teams 1-0 currently in the legend stage Swiss system. FaZe taking on Renegades here in Inferno. They're going to start on the CT side.
They sure are. So even in terms of the map, they're starting on the favorable side as well here, FaZe. Renegades have a lot of utility at their disposal. 2 smokes, couple flashes, Molotov. Does mean that a couple players skimping on the armor. But then again, USP's typically going to be trained to the foreheads anyway. Nico's seen a bit of confrontation. He's going to dip out of there as Gratisfaction takes point alongside Jacob. Both of them played pretty well earlier today, turning things around against Ents. It was back and forth, hot and cold. Dren going to deploy his smoke just to stall a little while longer, but the green button has been pushed, and we are all systems go. Gratisfaction survives longer than anticipated, and now JKS able to get his hands on a kill. Dren is the player that falls. JKS point blank range going to come out second best against Nico, but Renegades are at least turning up the heat. They have the bomb towards the site. I don't think they've got it planted though. Lias came off the plant.
He saw Rain. Rain pulled him off it. They know they need to get a couple more kills to be able to plant this bomb safely, but they're just being chipped away. Gratisfaction, he has to get aggressive in that scenario, puts him in an awkward fight, and there's Guardian for the final kill. FaZe gonna take that pistol. That was the big crux of this defense. Adren up close to that smoke. It had to be perfectly timed to give Nico the safety to take the fight on top of Coffins. It came out just at the right moment. Nico able to survive a little bit longer than expected and getting his second kill as JKS comes through the smoke.
It was touch and go for a few moments there because Renegades, Gratisfaction in particular, was just absorbing bullets. It seemed like he took about 10, 15 bullets in the end. But FaZe Clan did hold on to a solid start. Molotov extends to Nico, has to reposition, but there's going to be no push behind the Molotov. They're actually filtering out more towards second mid. CZs and Deagles in place. There's still plenty of threat on the table for Renegades.
Oh yeah, the utility as well. That's the big one. That's the big danger in these buys. Is you can actually run a full-blown strategy when you have these smokes and these flashbangs.
Speaking of which, they're now being tossed in. Gonna give some that presence in mid. FaZe okay to give this one up for the time being. Grenade goes out, barely does any damage, and Guardian is going to be pressed. UMP in hand alongside Nico's FAMAS. They're going to hold on. No, they don't. It's a 2-for-2 trade. That's going to favor Renegades because now they can wrap around and Adren's in real trouble. Very important he takes down Lias. Now he can focus attention towards the CT side. But it is an MP9 at range that's going to struggle somewhat, especially considering with this force, Renegades have armor on both these remaining players.
Adren played that as well as he could. Had to choose to get aggressive towards Banana. He knew the numbers that were in CT spawn, able to eliminate one. Plant going down is not a huge deal because Renegades invested so much into this. That smoke is going to be tough for them to deal with, though. They're both on this side. Gratisfaction coming over for the boost. Over the smoke, maybe something unexpected that FaZe is not ready for. No one's watching for it. Here's the jump off. Olaf's gonna get spammed. And now FaZe is in a tough spot. Adren goes down as well. A good trade from Rain. But the second player, Gratisfaction, his mobility has won him this round. He's rotated all the way around, and he is going to go down with the bomb, but he's going to find Rain as well. What a response from Renegades. What a round from Azza. 4 kills.
Beast mode engaged, a player that is taking up the in-game leadership role, but also fragging out all 4 of his kills in that round. And FaZe, a couple players on $1,400 are going to go for the force. So Renegades in a fantastic position right now to crack this open and make the half theirs.
Well, at least win in the early stages, right? We know how much pressure it takes off on the T side if you're able to get up those 3, 4, 5 rounds as quickly as possible, and then everything you get after that is gravy. We'll see what they can do with it. 3-man stack at this B-bomb site initially for FaZe. They're hoping for an aggressive take of top Banana from Renegades, but it's not happening. Nico's got a pop flash out ready and waiting. It's only one player close enough, though. And even Azza's gonna back off.
Rain and Adren were ready to pounce on that opportunity, but 3 players still over in B, and Renegades are heading towards the A side.
It's all Olafmeister. There's not even the first. He gets the dink, but couldn't finish it off. The CZ has betrayed him, and Guardian in the worst possible situation with that scout. Surely going to get taken down from behind for free.
Yeah, I think as he was trying to beeline it over to the other side of the map, save the scout with these pistols and armor, come back in the next round. But Liaz was a step ahead of him with his UMP, going to get the spray in the backside. Or maybe it was Azza, actually, pardon me. Either way, the result is the same. Guardian is a goner. And no reason for Renegades to really trade out any of these guns. They've got 3 SMGs they can use in the next round. They can keep these 2 assault rifles. They're looking good.
It's same for FaZe. There's no reason for them to kind of rotate over or try and make anything happen. You had a stack at the B bomb site. Didn't pan out. It's not the worst thing in the world. Keep the weapons you have. The 2 flashbangs are valuable as well. Saw them set up a pod flash here at the B bomb site. They can do that again. And even if not, they can choose to save. And that armor is valuable. The flashbangs, if they still have them, would be valuable for the next round. That's $1,000 you don't have to put in. But certainly Renegades have at least taken control in the early stages.
Impressive considering they conceded the pistol round. So right back in with authority. Not going to invest anything behind these save pistols and armor. Olafmeister or Guardian going to tap out intelligently. Massive gulf in disparity between utility and firepower. Renegades, surefire favorites to take a 3rd round for themselves. It's only Rain on the A side of the map. As they're gonna take some chip damage from the CZ, but he's okay to pull away. And he would have hurt at least 2 or 3 people over there shooting at him, so stands to reason they're just gonna push the A site now.
Yeah, same exact round from both teams. This time there was a 4th player, Olaf, rotated over towards the speed bomb site as well. Adren jumps the gun a little bit early, gets blinded. Rain's gonna go down for free here. And that's the round essentially over. Good news for Renegades. Azza on that T ramp. He has trapped them in Banana, and he's going to have a chance here. Equally, FaZe will have a chance to try and get an AK-47 for the next round. They're toying with him. Good kill from Nico. That AK-47 is worth its weight in gold if he can keep it in his hands. And it's a tough idea for Renegades. Do you want to go try and chase this down? JKS is the only one going for it.
He could add an extra weapon into the hands of Adren here if he goes down, but it is just an SMG. They want to upgrade to it anyway. Nico finds him, so that will be an extra SMG across to FaZe if they so choose. But they are going to stop him on the cross. Adren comes up the smoke just to bide some time. Very hungry to pick that SMG up. Nearly cost him his life, but going to hold on.
No, that's actually a brilliant find. Not even necessarily just the SMG, but the Molotov as well is beautiful. Yep. That's money you do not have to spend, and Adren can even choose if he wants to play the economy game. He's been playing close up at that B bomb site with Nico far back, so that UMP can actually be put to good work if he's playing that close position. The Molotov, as I said, is a brilliant find as well. Plenty of utility to be able to hold off any kind of B attack. Money you don't have to spend. So not terrible, all things considered, for FaZe, but the gun rounds begin now. A lot of eyes going to be on the buying of FaZe. No AUGs at the moment, which is unusual at this particular time of Counter-Strike.
Yeah, I mean, for Nico, it makes sense. He's probably the most outspoken person regarding
He can't really go back on that, can he?
No, but he does have the AK, which is perfectly fine and reasonable. It's more Olafmeister that I'm looking towards, because he had enough money, and I believe some drop weapons were in play. But either way, cracking on into 5th round FaZe, finally with a full healthy buy with rifles. I say healthy, but actually 2 players are completely lack of grenades, only a smoke in the hands of Rain. So still weak and still vulnerable here, Moses. Got to be a pretty dangerous situation for FaZe.
Oh, absolutely. They've used a lot of utility as well. Only 1 smoke left, that's on Rain. Nico and Adren at this B bomb site, they don't have a Molotov either. They have nothing they can drop in this choke point. That's 45 seconds left in the clock that they have to be cautious about Renegades doing a contact play in towards this site. Now we're starting to see the systematic use of utility by the Australian side to take Banana control. apply a little bit more pressure onto this site. This, you'd hope, if you're FaZe, this is not puller rotation. And Guardian, he's just now budging. But Nico and Adren are going to tell him to stay. He's coming back now. Rain is getting aggressive for information. There's his last smoke used. And actually, Renegade's going to have to come through this. This could be massive for Rain. They're going to boost over it. He didn't spot the gun barrel.
Has he?
He has now, I believe. Maybe not, actually. Guardian's going to provide him some cover from the other side of mid. This could be a slaughter. Rain, what a good job he's done. Remains undetected. And a triple kill.
What a difference it could have made if Azza had seen the barrel, but still Rain take nothing away from him. Triple spray, winning the round. It was very close to just timing out though as well for Renegades. They're very slow in their approach.
Yes, they were very
10,
cautious.
15 seconds, something like that.
Very cautious that round, which, I mean, yeah, that might be the approach they want to have on their T side. We did cast them on Inferno earlier today. But it is kind of interesting before FaZe is able to really establish any kind of economy and any kind of consistent utility behind their buys. Renegades, they could afford. There's a little bit more of leeway to if you want to pressure and be aggressive early on in rounds.
Aggression, the state of play, as it stands for FaZe. They're going to double Molotov, the banana, push down originally. Here's a flash into a potential quad peak, one by one. Now water falling out of mid. They're going to take a grenade for their troubles, make it two. But they're making serious movements through arches as it stands. They're somewhat sandwiched down. Rain is going to strike once again, but Jacob will return fire onto Adren.
That's the bomb as well dropped with that kill. You could see the difference this round in how aggressive Renegades were. Remember, they started that hit on Rap side with about 1 minute and 20 seconds left, and they took a decent amount of nade damage. They got chunked down by the HEs. A couple of them at half HP before they made contact with the rifles of FaZe. Guardian wants the information, and he's found more than he really wanted.
To spot both players at this stage, Renegades could rotate back to B, so FaZe can't take anything for granted. One smoke in play. Flashes being expended from the CTs to try and draw out a bit of information. That grenade has damage written all over it. Jacob's fortunate to survive, but he's been pinged down to 6. And with 25 seconds, they have to engage. They have to fully commit to A. And that should be a crossfire, snapping the round shut. With FaZe drawing a Z. But let's see if any entries can come by, though. That smoke very intelligently parts the ways. And how are Renegades getting these entries? It's down to Guardian. Spraying through the smoke does connect. And that should be the round done now. Jacob can't feasibly stop this. He cannot get to the bomb and plant in time. He's just going to try and save his AK.
Yeah, but they're going to hunt him down. You have to imagine after the timer, they're now encroaching the position. Nico from above. A lot of extended time here at the major. That's a big kill. No bonus money at the end. Nicely done from FaZe, but you have to say, you're right. Those two entries that JKS is able to get, Olaf and Pit, turns around towards the bomb site as well. Those are pretty massive in the grand scheme of things. Made that round much more dangerous. Renegades, unfortunately, just not expecting that third player to still be there in defense.
So Renegades onto a save, and with Jacob at 1400, they're not exactly going to have a fantastic buy next round if they can't get the bomb planted. This is now FaZe's chance to leap forward on their CT side.
We got to watch Kenny S earlier today with the AWP on Inferno, which is always a fun and impressive player to keep your eyes on. Now we have Guardian. We've got gifted with 2 of the best AWPers in global offensive history.
And of course, we also had Simple with an AWP a few rounds with Na'Vi, so we've been blessed today.
How did I mess that one up? 3 of the best AWPers.
Varying degrees of success, I think it's safe to say. Kenny did get somewhat countered by Na'Vi. Let's see if Guardian can shine. Gratisfaction will be his opposite number once the money's in play, but we did see on the T side, Gratisfaction didn't really get the AWP many times against Ents.
Yeah, he's stuck with that AK-47, which is fair play. Wasn't bad whatsoever. That sounded worse than it actually is.
Exactly, too well.
You could see Olaf Meister almost freak out a little bit there when the dink came through. That's a tag through the wall. That's a clean kill, and that's a clean slaughter. Another triple kill for Rain.
I think it was a dink with a Glock partially through the wall, hence the 2 damage. It really is a pea shooter against armor.
He was probably so confused when he looked at his health after being dinked and he was at 98. It's like, what the hell? Well, as you mentioned, Dying after the round timer went was Jacob, and that's a little bit punishing. He does have AK and full armor. No utility, though. That's where he's missing out. Now we have an AUG for FaZe. That's going to be on Olaf, so he's picked it up.
Not a great start for him, though. He's 004. Can quickly turn that around. Nico's had this AK what seems like forever. At least 3 or 4 rounds. But here's the play with a flashbang. Adren completely blinded. I believe there's a counter flash. Tossed in from the terrorist. Lias is going to double up with 2. And they're just going to make a straight up run to B. They're still going to have to check all their angles. There could be a third play over here as far as they're concerned. But soon they're going to find out that's not the case. And this is going to be a very tough retake for FaZe.
That's the second time we've seen Adren turn the corner just before a flashbang goes off, so he's mistiming those peaks a little bit, and it's actually ended up costing him his life a couple times, as he's being blinded by what looks, I believe, to be his own teammate's flash. That's a very, very aggressive defense at top banana for FaZe when the 3 teammates are all 3 playing in the lane over at A, the farthest rotation that they could possibly have. No chance for recovery in this round for FaZe, and Guardian wants to stick around with the AWP. It's a little bit high risk, high reward. He wants to take some weapons away, limit the money. There's the first. Gratisfaction stuck in the site, but double scope. Guardian didn't see him. Reactions are fast enough for this shot. But Gratisfaction's going to go for the duel, and now Guardian just has to hide. Gratisfaction needs to be content with what he's done. Olaf trying to get a couple kills on the exit as well. It's not going to happen as JKS hides, and no reason to chase that down. All tied up at 4.
You know, we kind of touched on Guardian there. I wonder, Moses, how many majors does he have left in him? He's been around for quite some time.
Yeah, I imagine he would like to win one. Go out on a high note. That might be the one thing in his career on Global Offensive that he hasn't been able to accomplish is that major. He's been stopped twice in the grand finals. First at Cluj-Napoca. That was to the French side. I believe that was Envious at the time. And then later on at MLG Columbus, when the Brazilian core won their first major as Luminosity.
Of course, the second major of the year has been announced, so I wonder if he'll be around for that one if they're not successful here.
I have to think he will be.
Especially now they've got a trend, could breathe new life into this roster alongside Yanko.
Well, that Adren one will be interesting to follow because he's not this is him as a stand-in is his like official designation. So I think that, you know, it is almost like a trial period. See how it goes, see how he fits into the team, see how he plays and progresses, and you can kind of decide after the major because we all know when the major ends, there's usually a pretty decent amount of roster swapping and roster mania.
Oh yeah, oh yes. I'm sure there's going to be plenty. But in the here and now, FaZe drawing 4-4 against the boys. Renegade's going to have all 5 players over on the mid side of the map. Guardian looking tight left from his perspective towards second mid, but he's not too sure if there's a player in Boiler, and he doesn't really have any backup either from the rest of his teammates, so he has to be very careful.
It's good utility usage, though, from Guardian. His teammates calling the utility, flying over the roofs, and he drops it to delay the mid portion of this attack, and it's extremely delayed. They do have pit control. They haven't been able to find any entries into the bomb site.
Guardian has found one, but JKS counteracts. Headshot delivered with the AK. Rain up close and Boiler gonna get the better of Azza, who turned his back. Unfortunate timing for Renegades. And although they have pit control, they haven't made the trek across to the site yet. So now Rain is using these smokes to his advantage. Finally, Gratisfaction gets the upper hand, looking to spray across the site. Olafmeister is going to break his deadlock by picking up a kill. And sub 30 seconds remain. Renegades still need to find a way onto the site. They still haven't got this bomb planted. And JKS, who's been in pit for quite some time now, has to try and pull off a 1v3 clutch. And with the bomb in such a precarious position, there's no reason for FaZe to move. There's the first, though. Now they may be forced out into the open. JKS going in for a second, but there is the man in question, Adren. The stand-in gets his second of the round, and FaZe their 5th.
That's nicely done from Renegades, and I have to go back to Guardian because, he only gets 1 kill and then is traded out pretty much immediately, but that utility usage that busted up this attack, that did not allow Renegades to make that coordinated, that was actually huge. Renegades had to waste a lot of time with those 2 players in mid, actually going back around towards halls, and they had pit, but they couldn't make progress onto the bomb site, especially behind their own smokes as well. They couldn't peek into the site for picks. So the readjustment, the relocation is actually their undoing, and all that's caused by the utility from Guardian. He's got 10 kills on top of it with 4 deaths. Tied for the lead on FaZe with Rain, who also has 10.
Yeah, Rain really chugging along from the quad side.
That was one of the things that, you know, when I spoke with Yanko as well, and he told me about Nico, he also said Rain we hit a very nice level in a really nice form in their boot camp, that, you know, he was happy to see kind of Rain, who had a, I guess, sort of a quiet end to 2018 is the best way to put it. Quiet 2018 overall, I think, and considering how good of a player he is, that he was kind of back in shape, back in fragging form.
At one point, though, he did seem to be one of FaZe's best players in terms of performances towards the end of 2017 with Olofmeister, and he's going to find the first. And speaking of Rain, going to try and hold on for quad. He's just trying to bite up enough time to allow the rest of his team to move into position. That flashbang does afford JKS the opportunity to run around. Now there's so many angles for Rain to try and lock down, but Guardian is helping him out. So much damage inflicted to Renegades, 13 and 11 in terms of health, and Gratisfaction is going to put his 11 to good use with a kill and a bomb plant. Desert Eagle in range to maybe pull off a miraculous clutch, but Adren says no.
That round just immediately feels so much more dangerous for FaZe when they're able to get into that bomb site and swing wide on Rain against the graveyard wall. Olaf as well, that flashbang hit him perfectly, gave Renegades the second they needed to get out, get the bomb planted, get into the site and cause some kills. We're going to get a tactical pause from Renegades. They want to talk some things over.
Is their second as we move through into the 11th round. So they're going through them pretty fast. Understandably, though, because a lot's up for grabs here. They have enough money for a full buy. Already 4 rounds on their T side is pretty damn strong. So if they can add to this, they're in pretty good shape moving across to the CT side. So understandable why they'd want to take their sweet time. In terms of frags, it's pretty even and no one's really standing out.
Oh dear, you want to know something funny, Vince?
Go ahead.
Guardian was stopped in the final 3 times. I was thinking of only the times he was on Na'Vi. He was also stopped with FaZe, so I've lost my mind.
Oh dear.
That was the Cloud9 win as well. How did
Yeah.
I forget that one?
One that a lot of people expected FaZe to win.
Gonna have to tear up my passport.
It's alright, mate. It's been a long day.
It has been a long day.
I'm sure that people forgive you.
You'd hope so.
Some chip damage to the bottom of Banana T steps, but Liaz not going to be deterred by that. He still pushes forward, gaining a lot of ground in the process. There's a smoke in his eyes. That's going to fade momentarily, but Nico primed for another one. Only seen a couple of aggressive plays. Adren this time, that flashbang is spot on. He's done so much damage, and 2 kills, make it 3. Go his way, pop flash to perfection. And that passage of play may have just sealed up the round for FaZe.
They've set that play up, or they've tried to execute it a number of times, and this was actually obviously the most impactful. That's perfect from Nico, but you also have to say, mistake on the Renegade side, not a single player of the 5 that are at top banana playing anti-flash. They're punished for that. Guardian's gonna miss his shot. Forced to play passive as he's been tagged down to 11. You still have Nico. And the back of the bomb site still alive. 40 seconds left on the clock, and he can chew a lot of his time off of it simply by hiding with his positioning. No smokes on these Renegades players as well, so they're going to have a 3-pronged attack as they enter in here. There's so many different choke points, so many different spots in the bomb site that they can be hit from, and this is a losing effort. JKS, again, in a situation, we've seen it, I think this is the 3rd time now in this half where Renegades players at the end can only be fighting to cause damage.
After a timeout too, just to add salt in the wounds. His day's numbered, needs to die before the time runs out, and he will be successful in that endeavor. Yeah, when we talk about anti-flash for any newcomers that maybe haven't seen much CS, it's when a player is staring at a wall, basically back turned to the choke point, and you can see here why. Everybody lit up, their retinas burnt clean out their heads.
4 players completely blind.
No one had their back turned at all.
Nico's racking up them flash assists.
And from a pretty sketchy start for FaZe, they've now stabilized 7-4. It started out 3-1 against them after winning the pistol. They got broken instantly.
Yeah, 6 of the last 7 have gone to FaZe.
Couple Couple smokes to play with for Renegades, but it's full CZ with a Desert Eagle.
And Renegades have actually chosen strategically to stop kind of spreading across the map. Early on in this half, when they got that 4 rounds, and even a couple after that, they were sending at least 1, maybe 2 people up Banana, at least to have some kind of a presence. These past few rounds from Renegades have been, everyone grouped up towards A, everyone grouped up towards B, and you're kind of just patiently waiting to hit a bomb site. Guardian flashed back, does take a shot. They haven't seen this bait and switch.
They may get baited into this here, and Guardian there. Range typically played on the short side. Going to get 2. Could be good enough. AK is now in the hands of Azza, though. We saw him get a 4K earlier on, but he's been tagged up. His elbow blown clean off, down to 5 health, and finished by Olofmeister. Now, Liaz, who didn't follow his in-game leader, is in app, so no comfortable weapon for him to pick up and use against the CTs. He's going to have to rip through with the CZ. And the bomb's also in a horrible spot for him, so again, Renegade's really just playing to do some damage, not necessarily to win the round at this stage.
Olaf hears this as well. Walking into the crosshair, an easy one for Olaf, who had a double kill. The nade earlier on Rap side to clean up Guardian's handiwork. Starting to look much, much better for FaZe. 8-4 now. The Renegade side of thing, there's really not a whole lot of fragging production going on. Azza has 8. And remember, he's also the in-game leader who we saw really struggle earlier today on this map in the first half. Individually, at least, he picked it up in a big way in the second half.
Yeah, there's 26 kills collectively on Renegades, and we're going into round 13. They're averaging about 2 per round. Not great when you consider that FaZe on the CT side now, their economy's in pretty good shape.
Certainly for the rest of this half, FaZe should be all right unless they get obliterated here in this round. This is back to normal for Renegades, back to more of a standard defaulty kind of round. 3 players taking banana control. They've fallen off it now as they have control all the way up towards the half wall. Liaz completely blind. There's that pop flash play again. He's not even playing anti-flash. He's just spamming as soon as the flashbang hits him. Spray and pray, I believe we call that.
Sometimes works for you, sometimes against. On the right side this time, and Renegades, one of the better opportunities they've had in rifle rounds. They get the opening pick, make it 2. Guardian flirting with danger for far too long with no backup. Rain, who has been pretty slick today, on 14 and 6 over 100 ADR, has to turn tail and run. He's the last beacon, the last line of defense on A, with so many angles to watch out for. And there's a very slow rotation as well from Nico and Olofmeister.
This call from Renegades is great. Just get in front of the smoke. Jacob's looking for it. Great trade from Gratisfaction, and there goes Olofmeister as well. Nico's tagged down. They know his location. They're going to take all the guns away from FaZe. Azza certainly has him locked in a library. That's a swift end. There's your 5th. And that's a pretty comfortable half on the T side of Inferno.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's kind of what we were saying before when it was 4-4. Renegades starting to slip away, but they'd already built the foundations after those 3 rounds straight after the pistol round. Any more from here is a nice juicy bonus, and FaZe gonna call a timeout. They know they need to wrap this one up quickly. Double up in play. Guardian's got 1. Olof is going to have the 2nd, or pardon me, it's Nico.
Well, we mentioned their economy. Going into a double up pretty much obliterates said economy. So if they lose this round, FaZe, Renegades has a great chance to get up to 7 and have a very narrow deficit for the second half. Everything FaZe has is invested here. But one thing that this should allow, especially with Nico having one of the AWPs over towards the B bomb site, is for FaZe to have a little bit more of a mobile defense. They've been pretty static, all things considered, in terms of cheating a 4th player over towards A or cheating a 3rd person towards B. They've kind of let their initial crews at each bomb site handle the trouble on their lonesome. Pretty aggressive out towards top banana between Adrena and Nico. But this can allow some mobility between the bomb sites. If they get a good read, they can have a very stacked defense.
Nico perched up, actually taking damage from the Molotov below him. Somehow crawled up the wall behind him. That is significant. Not able to flick across. I think he was playing almost for anti-flash, but nearly cost him his life.
Again, that might be a small miscommunication. I remember Adren as the stand-in, the newest member. That smoke came in real late. It actually plumed like 3-4 seconds after the previous one had faded, which is why I think Nico was a little bit surprised by that kind of a contact peek right through it. If there's a smoke there, obviously the T side pretty much has to flash or else they just risk being demolished. Guardian in lane looking for Boiler. Narrow angle, Molotov to slow things down. Everything I said about being able to cheat a player over towards a bomb site is negated by the fact that Nico has 18 HP. They cannot afford to leave him alone at that B bomb site.
Yeah, that's a really good point. They're going to be far more static now, and Renegades, of course, have no way of knowing that, but if they just execute right here, right now, if they can get this first kill on Rain, everything opens up nicely for them. He's not going to fully commit, though. Backs away. Because there's only 25 seconds left, Renegades are out of options. They've got to be quick. They've got to be concise with their commitment. And they've realized, okay, we can't go B. Let's go back to A again. But there's 3 players stacked on the site. This could be a massacre. This could be a disaster. 10 seconds now, and Guardian is going to claim the first kill. And it's going to be every bit the disaster that I was anticipating. Guardian flicks across the head of JKS. He can't get Liaz, but Liaz doesn't have time. This round is going to slip away from Renegades.
Beaten by indecision. They wanted to make that B split happen and just realized it at the last moment. They spent 5 seconds getting in towards that CT spawn and then realized they just had to turn back. Great play from Guardian inside the bomb site. If he does not get that second kill during that sequence, Renegades can likely plant the bomb and likely wins that round. A really, really solid hold from FaZe. 9-5 now. And the buy comes out for Renegades. Everything they possibly can, which is actually a pretty strong buy. Only Gratisfaction set back onto the Deagle, but they've got 4 AK-47s. Plenty of utility to work with as well. Only the 1 AWP for FaZe this time.
Brisk banana control. This time it's Azza. It's been really between him and Liaz, who's pushed in first on banana. There is a flashbang to greet them, but no smoke or Molotov just yet. There's a hate sheet. Chips away at Azza and a Molotov. A bit too shallow to stop him from peeking Coffin. And Nico's got to be careful he doesn't peek one too many times up there. But there is the smoke. And Renegades in turn react with rotating the bomb back on the T steps, moving up mid now.
It's a pretty solid position from Azza though. He can gather information. If he hears footsteps in CT spawn, and one of the few times FaZe has cheated a third player over towards this B bomb site, the majority of the attack is actually heading towards A. Great pick as Adren comes through the smoke. Guardian's gonna get tested. He does have the op over towards Rap side. Pop flash for Olaf to get information. He sees nothing, but now Guardian knows what's up. So many bodies, they've gone towards CT spawn as well. He's gotta be careful behind him, but it's the B bomb site under pressure.
And he still can't hit anything on the cross. Rain up close and personal, can only get one. And that leaves Nico in a world of hurt, but can he turn it back around? 20 seconds to try and stall. He's landed himself a second headshot. That could have been enough. Gratisfaction now going to go for the plant, getting spammed up through the coffins. He so nearly claimed the third. JKS tagged down to 12. Nico has done everything but clutch this round for FaZe. And Olaf needs to finish off what he started. Going to make some noise by dropping the UMP, but of course wants the superior AK-47. JKS is the tagged up player on New Box. It's really about Gratisfaction's positioning now. He is the linchpin. He is the key. JKS likely going to go down at Gratisfaction, gets him on the cross. 9-6 to FaZe Clan.
Really nice play from Renegades in that team to eventually figure things out and grind a couple rounds right at the end. FaZe is being led by Rain at 16, but Renegades have a phenomenal offense, and now we're going to switch things over. We're going to return from the break, and we'll find out who takes this map. 9-6 for FaZe, a lineup featuring some of the most legendary players in global offensive history, and Renegades, the upstarts, long-standing players in this roster. Azza and JKS have struggled to find success in their careers with this organization, but this major seems to be a different Renegades, and we'll see if they can close it out in the second half. They had a great T-side, 6 rounds for them. Oh, and they're gonna get aggressive. This is bold, pushing down mid.
Well, give them credit for the aggression. Will it work out for them? So far, so good. Nico's been found by Gratis Faction off Meister. Just trying desperately to hide.
I don't know if Nico expected them to be that aggressive. And now, unfortunately, with Olaf Meister there, maybe Nico thought Olaf would actually get into the action somewhat. Great kill from Guardian. Looking to bide his time. Rain waiting for Azza, and that's got to be frustrating. He was looking for a cleaner fight. Where's the peek from Olaf? That could change this whole round. Liaz completely blind. Nicely done from FaZe handling the pressure. Even losing Nico early on, and they've recovered.
Olaf proving that patience certainly is a virtue in that case, giving the firm advantage to FaZe Clan, now making a straight up dart towards the B side. Jacob is going to be laid in wait, using the close angle. Does a bit of chip damage to both the Dren and Olafmeister, but it's been smoked out. Can look for the boost, but they've already read it. Olafmeister perforates the smoke, pierces into the head of JKS, and FaZe Clan pick up both pistols.
Nicely done from Guardian, 2 kills early on. Renegades trying to fall back, and they take that long-range fight. It's the P250 from Guardian that puts him down, and the pop flash over for Olaf to get a clean peek. That is so dirty. A 10th round for FaZe now. That's actually both pistols that go their way. In the first half, they won the pistol, and Renegades responded by stealing away the second. If they want to have a pretty clean victory here, they need to prevent that from occurring. There is the scout. You can see in Gratis Factions here peering down mid at the moment. And a 3-man stack for Renegades at this B bomb site.
They want to get fast and aggressive though. 4 SMGs. Jacob, perfect flashbang. Yields the kills onto Olafmeister and Guardian, but Nico is at least there to stand tall and deliver the fatal blow back. But Renegades do have the advantage, unable to retrieve any of those guns that have been taken down.
That was a really cool setup from Renegades at the B-bomb site. One player getting ready to peek down. They actually had a second player we saw from that POV throwing a nade deep in towards Banana, and they had a third player inside the site who threw a flashbang. That's why you saw both nade damage coming out, obscuring vision, and a flashbang as the extra cherry on top. Well-constructed second round from Renegades gives them a man advantage. Actually, it gives them a bunch of utility as well. Smokestone and Gratis Faction and Liaz, but they're both over at the A bomb site.
Yeah, it's only a flashbang to use on the B side at the moment for Renegades, and they're going to have to use that carefully. Pick the perfect time. Because Molotov smokes everywhere. Azza runs, there's fire to greet him, but there's a one-tap from JKS looking for a second. Azza had to run out in the open, otherwise he'd have burnt to a crispy burnt anyway, actually. And can JKS hold the line? So far he's doing a phenomenal job. Dren is the only player left alive, just under half health. And he has to try and run back towards the A side, but Liaz is waiting. It's only a matter of time, and Renegades have done it again. Lightning has struck twice.
Oh dear, that is going to be tough to swallow for FaZe. That'll be something they look at, win or lose this map. How they approach these second rounds, but Renegades have certainly shocked them here. That's a seller shot from Renegades, but the real damage is done by Jacob getting aggressive with that CZ at the half wall. This is a beautiful hold. JKS as well, never overextending, and they never got close enough to really put him under pressure. And yeah, not the worst thing in the world. Tactical timeout. Calm your team down, as you could see YNK gesturing with his hands. He's a hand talker when he's a coach.
Can be pretty animated too, very matter of fact, very direct and to the point. It's one of the reasons we love him so much.
For better or worse?
Yes. As a coach, it's typically what I think you need though. I mean, I've heard in-game leaders talk about this, I've heard Sean Gares talk about this, that certain players react in different ways. You can be very straightforward with some players, they can take it on the chin. Others, you have to be a little bit more careful with, a bit more delicate with.
Yes.
In terms of FaZe, I'm not entirely sure who would be who.
They all strike me as people who would you know, you can be pretty direct with. A lot of experience as well. I mean, there's not a whole lot that Yanko likely needs to say. It's probably mostly just reminding. Most players as well understand and realize very quickly when they've made a mistake. Nico taking a tough battle with a P250 through the smoke. Obviously, I guess the Fama's going to come out of the losing end. Here we go, though. 3 players close up towards Halls. This might be quicker. Oh, the missed flashbang. Liaz still backs away. There's no one in pit, but that flash wouldn't have gotten him either way. He handles this nicely. A very deep defense into the bomb site, and even if that flash was where it was designed to be, would have been tough for FaZe to get into that site either way.
Yeah, it wouldn't have made much difference. It obviously looks quite awkward, but Liaz had them dead to rights anyway. And Nico, just an SMG to his name, and a MAC-10, so one of the weakest SMGs against armor, especially when there's head armor across the board on Renegades. If he can get a kill, it would be a nice, juicy bit of money in his back pocket. With 4 Renegades, of course, to replenish, but it's not going to happen. And they bring us back to a 2-round deficit. They still trail, but they're on the winning path.
Yeah, they really are. They didn't take barely any damage in that round either, which has got to be scary if you're FaZe. You know you only got the 1 kill and a full investment in that second round, and that's a little bit gutting. Renegades actually have a great shot of just slingshotting that into a pretty decent lead. This T side can be so difficult. We'll see what FaZe brings out. At times in the past, they have kind of gotten stuck on their offense. It's been a little sketchy watching it.
And this, of course, is going to be the side where, oh, that nade, it does chip away a few players. But this is the side where we're really going to see Nico's in-game leadership. Oh, the second nade follows it up, Rain 1 HP. But Yanko and Nico, this is where we're going to see what kind of tactics they have in play. When they're up against the wall, maybe not this one, it's just blocks and a flashbang, but more the rifle rounds. CT side, you can wing it a lot easier. It's the T side where you have to start creating plays, set plays, executes, these sorts of things.
Especially when you drop that second round and then don't do damage in the third. Now you realize as well that first gun round that comes out in the next round is going to be against the Molotovs and the smokes. Ozza completely blind, but with the help of those nades from earlier, he just gets to tap away at Rain, who I think was the lowest HP on like 1.
Yeah, exactly 1 HP. The rest just kind of falls into place, Moses. It's pretty straightforward. They do at least get a kill on Gratisfaction, which when you consider it a flashbang, not too bad, I guess, but...
And you consider more than likely, I would imagine he's going to upgrade to the AWP, so he's probably going to change his weapons out anyways.
Yep. But this is where we're going to see. What does Nico have? What does Yanko have up their sleeves? T-side, pressure's on. Renegades in winning ways. You've got both pistols, and you're only just leading.
Here we go. First glimpse of Renegades with the AKs. Gratisfaction, here's some footsteps, gonna back off. Valuable weapon, doesn't want to lose it. They're up mid so quick. They're up mid so fast, and Gratisfaction has to take a pretty passive angle. Great mid-control established. FaZe caught them at an awkward timing. We're only 2 players here to defend. They knew a third was going to come back and rotate, but they didn't want to take the fights until that point. JKS as well pushed out of the B bomb site, jump spotting over the half wall, so he's got the information. 4 players to defend with 1 in CT spawn.
But after getting all this mid-control, they're starting to back away slowly. They still have players that are clumping up in apps. Now they're starting to make inroads through mid. They've got the bomb in the hands of Nico. Has to be very careful he doesn't get picked off. That could outright lose him the round if he drops the bomb in a horrible spot here. Lots of flash has been depleted. Gratisfaction chips in with an odd kill, make it 2. He's in a double up, trying to connect the dots, gets a third, whips out the P250 and takes the head almost clean off Nico's shoulders. Only 9 HP remains, so a phenomenal round by Gratisfaction. And now Nico realizing that in exchanging, he probably loses. Going to pick up the AWP instead and see if we can get the 1 hit potential in his way. Gonna peek back again. There is a smoke though. It's gonna make it that much harder. But now they're starting to peek round. This is why he's picked up the AWP. Can Nico pull off a huge clutch? It'll be heartbreaking for the Renegades after the start they had in this round, but he goes down. I think maybe his barrel stuck through the smoke and betrayed him. But either way, JKS is gonna get the defuse, and Renegades will tie us up 10 apiece.
Yeah, it would be interesting to see that from JKS's POV if he saw something inside the smoke or if he just took a random spam. Maybe taking a guess that Nico was gonna get tricky. Pretty solid first round for FaZe, 4 kills and the plant. They can buy in this if they want, they're right on the edge. Solid retake, but a beautiful round from Gratisfaction in the site. Finding all of his kills, all of his 1v1s, that dink on Nico as well. You're exactly right, switching out to the AWP was pretty much the only chance he had. He just barely spotted the head over the top of the smoke as it started to fade. Unlucky for Nico, but we're all tied up at 10-10. Lucky for us, as this remains a close affair down the stretch.
It certainly does, but I think now it starts to favor Renegades. I mean, FaZe Clan, they've had a timeout. They've tried to rummage together an idea. It didn't work out for them. They've won both pistols. And now Renegades on the CT side. There's only one timeout remaining after this for FaZe.
They've had to burn quite a few to figure some things out. Renegades has applied a lot of pressure.
That's a worrying sign. They've dipped in and they've used a bunch of them, and it hasn't really altered how the match has gone. It hasn't really changed a great deal. They could buy again in this round, but it's going to be bare bones.
It still kind of blows my mind to see a Renegades team, you know, at this level and continuing this pressure. It's really, really cool to watch.
Yeah, as we said in the lead up to this match, you know, it's not a case of taking anything away from what they've achieved so far, but they haven't played a team with the caliber of FaZe yet. If they get a victory here, no one can argue that Renegades are in some fine form and could very well make the top 8.
Pretty cool to think as well. This is a story that goes under the radar just a little bit with the success of Renegades and obviously some of the big names on FaZe, but Jacob, one time a member of this FaZe team. One of the first players they kind of dropped as they started shifting into this star-studded ensemble cast.
Olof had enough for an AK, but he decides to go for a MAC-10 instead, so he's going to pick up some grenades for himself. And speaking of the man, he's currently in app, so he's going to be the spearhead of the operation, looking to push out first if they do pull the trigger. And with 3 of them lining up, it looks likely. Nico is trying to play interference over on the Archer's side, draw out some grenades, draw out some gunfire perhaps. And once this smoke clears, it could be all systems go. There's a Molotov down, but it's only a Dren that goes out, and he gets picked off instantly. In the meanwhile, Nico has made some moves through the Archer's side, but it's not going to be enough to get more than 1 kill. And this is somewhat stalled out. Now they're going to decide to push on the quad side, but Liaz has made a move back towards the pit. Molotov going to be drawing him out. Flash off the door, stalling even longer. And FaZe have to face up to the very real possibility that this A hit is not working out and pull back. Now Renegades have got all 4 players over here. They've got to be very cognizant of the fact that a rotation could come into play.
It's all on JKS. He's kind of the one who's like plugging the gap of this defense, this flank that's opened up to him, and yeah, this should be a double kill for him. No need to even scope in, just holds the trigger down. Renegades, they rotated so fast. So much of this FaZe offense has been predicated on, you know, a hit primarily out of those A halls over the balcony into the pit. A perfectly timed Molotov and miscommunication or, you know, different thoughts of who's going to go forward, or if that happens, who goes forward, and if we stay back. Adren's the only one who commits to it. Nico committed as well up rap side of A, which made him feel very lonely. Probably an element of frustration there, but Renegades have grabbed the lead now.
Which is strange because Olof, who is the second player, had the MAC-10. That is the big plays weapon. You've got to go aggressive with it.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying I'm pretty sure that Olaf in his head is saying if that Molotov comes down, we're not going. And Adren was like, you know, Adren said we are going, which is not ideal. Right along the wall, some good damage onto Rain.
Yeah, and with Azza here, with an AUG, it should be all over. Does eat a dink, but it's only 13 damage in total. Jacob's also there, so Renegades are a couple of steps ahead of FaZe. They are going to be probing the one side of the map where only JKS is currently residing, although Jacob is now making moves over. Doesn't seem JKS needed him anyway. He's got this all under control. And the stand-in, going to be the final player to fall, does have control of the bomb. So Renegades will need to respect this, but now they've seen him. Oh, gets a dink on the drive-by. Just CZ things, but there is the AUG once again in the hands of Jacob, who picks up his 3rd kill of the round.
He got the follow-up dink as well on a Jacob right at the end before going down. 12-10 though, and now it's starting to feel like an even bigger advantage for Renegades. It feels like they're starting to build some momentum into this game. They're rotating very, very well. They're remaining aggressive and confident in their peaks, and they have a lot of money in the bank behind this buy. FaZe better start now. Guardian's got the AWP for the first time in his hands on the offense. Both ops on each team have been pretty quiet throughout this game so far.
Yeah, I can only think of Satisfaction with his 3K on the site that really springs to mind, and Guardian had a couple of moments on the CT side, but nothing truly special. Maybe just the case of how much utility is being expended from both teams, and locking out the AWP as a flashbangs on point. JKS nearly flicks across to a 2nd kill, but FaZe have the player advantage, albeit on Nico with just 1 health.
That's a pretty cool play from JKS, waiting for the flashbangs to come out and then peeking, staring into the wall first. Almost able to convert that 2nd kill. Defense is spread a little bit thin though. Leaz and Pit, Gratisfaction, wrap side Aza over at the A bomb site. There's the nade kill at 1 HP. And it's a 3-on-3 now. Still ops in play for both teams. And FaZe gonna start marching up Banana, letting Guardian with the bomb lead the way. No, that's awkward. Guardian spotted before he was ready for it. The bomb sighted as well.
This would be Aza now by himself. 30 seconds. Gratisfaction thinks this is a fake. Someone needs to get over there and quick. 25 seconds now. It has to be a B hit. And Aza's been Molotov'd and flashed out of position. Excellent take by FaZe. Gratisfaction looking for the boost, but it's not going to be forthcoming. And judging from Liaz's position, they're already half thinking about saving this round.
Yeah, he didn't budge at a pit, did he? I think with the clock starting to run down in the round, he just wanted to make sure that it was B. Gratisfaction, they have the money if he wanted to stick around, but you can't argue against this play. Just make sure you save it. Could try and take some guns away from FaZe, who haven't been able to string rounds together, who haven't been able to build up any kind of money. It's been 6 in a row for Renegades. It's about to get stopped here, obviously, but what a run to grab control of this map.
Yeah, it was the pistol, and then it was all Renegades. In terms of ADR, you can see the teams are pretty evenly matched. There's not a huge amount between the two of them, as the score would suggest, but Renegades have been on a tear. FaZe have stopped the spree, but for how long? This really off the back of getting early picks through Nico surviving on the 1 HP and then a rotation being a bit too slow. Can FaZe realistically rinse and repeat? Now Nico's going to have the AWP. Is this based off spawn, I wonder? Because Guardians had it up until this point. Yes, it is. Nico has the best spawn for mid or banana. And he's going to go straight in. He's looking, peering across to the top of banana, but no one's home for Renegades. And they do eat quite a bit of damage in the process.
That's a deep nade. Nico is actually in front of it. And he's going to continue up the aggression with this op. He wants to try and catch Jacob with the shoulder peek. Almost finds the timing. That's going to force an early smoke out, though. So, mission accomplished. They've made the B defenders feel a little bit nervous. Still Molotovs. And still a smoke on JKS as well.
Similar to how we saw Cloud9 deal with MIBR earlier today on their CT side. A solid nade usage though, chipping away 3 players before any incursion comes up. Now FaZe Clan looking to crack open on the A side. It's another double stack, this time Aza and Gratisfaction. It's the idea, Gratisfaction goes in for a shot, tries to bait them into Aza. Misses out on the kill, but does connect on Rain, and that is the bait. And this time Nico is caught, and this time the bomb is dropped in a horrible spot.
That's the second time Nico's kind of pressured that corner with the bomb, and this time he's punished for it. Wasn't previously. But if you're Renegades, you gotta be so happy. Guardian spotted that, but he goes down through the smoke. Rain is up next. 25 HP. It would take very little to find him. A fourth player rotating here for Renegades. There is nothing FaZe can do about this. 15 seconds left. They're just going to save. They're forced back. Adren can drop. Guardian will be able to trade an AK-47 over to Rain, who will give him the AWP, but disaster striking for FaZe. Again, another T-side that is found lacking. And you can go all the way back to the pistol. That victory for FaZe into a second round loss, not able to convert.
The warning signs were there though. I mean, we called this. Nico a couple times already has gone for that peek on Arch side with the bomb in his hands for no reason. Could have been dropped second mid, could have just dropped it off to one of his teammates. If you're going to go aggro there, you cannot afford to lose it. And you saw what ended up happening. You saw the result firsthand. Bomb goes down, forces players into horrible spots, spray through the smoke, easy round for Renegades. And now two players come out the round with absolutely no grenades for FaZe Clan and only a flashbang for Adren. They have two smokes to execute off.
Yeah, this is not great, and obviously for FaZe. We'll see if they can pull a miracle out. This is where, if you're FaZe, you have one of the luxuries of this team. Rely on the skill of all of these players that you know can deliver and have proven they can be consistent in their delivery. That's not a great start. Nico gets spammed down right at the beginning of the round. Satisfaction spots the leg and the barrel, baited into a shot. There's no good answers for FaZe in this round, though. 4-on-5 situation, very little utility. The bomb is all the way back in alt mid now. It was over just by the T ramp. It thought that might have signified that FaZe was eventually going to fall back towards the B bomb site, especially with just one smoke. You just block off that CT choke point. They're going to go up mid, though. They're going to go head-to-head with the four defenders that are here, and I cannot see this going well for FaZe.
Definitely not, considering they've got a one flash, one molly, one smoke, one HE. What realistically can they pull off? They're going to need some big entries. Maybe Guardian is the man to deliver.
There's so many counter utilities, so many flashbangs on Renegade side to just delay and continually have information of where FaZe is located on the map. FaZe can find no openings.
Now, in this case, the flashbang is almost the best nade to have because it really stymies and stalls this push up on the quad side. You can ping it off the door into the eyes of all the oncoming terrorists, and now they're walking into the trap. Gratisfaction with his P250 peaks one too many times, but as a crossfire with Liaz, and the time is so low. This is over, ladies and gentlemen. This round is going to Renegades. All Guardian can do is pull back with his tail between his legs and save the AWP.
And it's so tough because you have to rely on Guardian with the AWP to find a pick to really punish a mistake from Renegades because they don't have the utility to force those mistakes out. And Renegades just playing mistake-free fundamental Counter-Strike. They're trusting in the crossfire setups they have. They're not overextending and trying to do too much. They're just waiting for FaZe to walk right into the exact location they want.
I've got to say, this is masterfully played by Renegades. It's not just a case of FaZe being a bit flat, but Renegades have performed very well today. 4 orcs, as you'd expect, alongside the AWP. FaZe playing for ultimately overtime. Only the 1 AWP saved for Guardian, alongside a Desert Eagle and a P250. No grenades.
You can't even blame them. What are you supposed to, I mean, what can you buy with the money that you have in hand? And you could see Nico there in the cam starting to chat and discuss a round where they don't really have anything to fight for. So take your time, discuss how you're going to make this through on comeback. Remember, they only have 1 timeout as well. So you imagine they want to hold on to that for as long as possible. And yeah, their backs are against the wall in this. They have to win 4 straight. Probably setting up a plan and talking to each other, and Nico's asking everyone for where they think they can exploit some kind of the defense, and that's a tough question to answer because FaZe, they haven't figured it out yet. None of them have.
They have to win 4 straight, and they've only won 2 on this half, and 1 was the pistol round. So this is asking a huge amount of FaZe.
But when you put it like that, Vince, it doesn't sound good at all.
It certainly doesn't, Moses. I am not holding my breath for this comeback, let's put it that way. Meanwhile, Renegades could not be in better shape. 30 seconds left, Olaf Meister's been found and fragged. Azza able to drill him between the eyes. Guardian, everything rests off him. If they're going to get anything out of this, it has to come through his hands. Adren's been thinned out. There's the frag onto Gratisfaction. More pressure now applied. Liaz though off the side is going to do damage while Rain comes in with Glock. No Azza. I was about to say, surely you don't get Glock bursted down. And Azza, in amongst the frenzy, actually picks himself up a handy ace.
Yeah, it was a sneaky ace, really. It crept up on you.
I thought Liaz got a couple kills there, but I think Azza finished them off. 26 and 18 with 90 ADR from the IGL.
That's a big-time performance from Azza. That quick kill on the Guardian as well might have saved it, even almost, as you said, taken down by the burst. Well, Renegades, 4 chances to close this out in regulation. Led by Azza, the in-game leader. A guy with so much potential that for years, him and JKS have been the two that have been predicted to be the leaders of the Australian Counter-Strike team moving forward. He's certainly delivering here at the majors so far, and definitely in this single map.
Gratisfaction, the New Zealander, will pull back after having a quick fire crack on mid. FaZe Clan turning up the heat, turning up the pace. Molotovs and flashbangs being distributed. It's going to be a wraparound on the arch side. Liaz isn't able to do anything, and neither is Azza. This is much better from FaZe Clan, looking far more clinical in the dying embers of this map. They are going to be able to get another round on the board, and Jacob and JKS, sure there's a bunch of money, but we know how quickly that'll dwindle on the CT side. They're just going to try and tap out the round and see if they can hold on to these guns.
And there's no reason for FaZe to chase. Yeah, you want to take all the weapons away, force them to reinvest, but you don't have a lot of money yourself. I mean, they're still valuable weapons. Rebuying them in the next round will really limit the economy. You can't imagine that FaZe is going to get too many easy, clean rounds in this fashion for the rest of this game. 12 to 15 now as FaZe close the gap just a little bit. Finally, 3 more chances for Renegades.
Off the back of hyper-aggression, though, I do wonder if Renegades will be able to plug that gap. I'm not saying that it was a gimmicky round from FaZe, but I don't think it's one they're going to be able to repeat time and time again.
No, I think there's going to be a couple more bodies on that rap side, aren't there? They're going to be a little bit more wary when FaZe starts taking that mid-control.
So for as healthy as the money was looking, it's not only JKS that sat on a chunk of change at 8k. Everyone else, apart from Gratisfaction, 1.5k or lower. Such is the CT side. But it may not end up mattering if they claim this match point right here, right now.
This time, for the first time in a long time, it's FaZe who come out on top of the early utility exchange. Guardian's got to be careful. Oh, nice pop flash over to give him the angle. Thought he might just go for it heads up. Gratisfaction. This is bold. Young player. Is he making a mistake? He is. He's going up against Guardian, a grizzled veteran. 15 to 12. And Gratisfaction gives one up.
One of the worst times to give a life away for free as well, when FaZe are breathing down your necks. Heavy investment weapon has been neutralized. Rain looking to make moves up in mid, taking point for his team, looking for some entries. Azza in the meanwhile, head and shoulders above anybody else on the server in terms of frags, maybe called upon to deliver once again, using the pillar of quad as his sanctuary. If he peeks out, he'll have a free kill on Rain. I say that, nearly whiffs out on it, and that's going to cost him his life. Could have maybe spun across for a second if he didn't take so many bullets to take down the first.
FaZe actually faked the fallback. They actually ran halfway down mid and walked back, and you could see it pulled the players out of rotation. JKS kind of started hiking over towards CT spawn. Now they're very nervous by the presence. It's going to be the B bomb site. It's all on Jacob. But the clock is Renegade's ally. Can he delay them long enough? He's completely blind, drops in towards first oranges, gets the first, but not the follow-up. Liaz and JKS can't go for this. The round is lost, and they're just going to back away towards alt mid. Their money now is running low on the CT side. This next round will be a full investment, and if they can't win it and can't save any weapons, then FaZe should have a big advantage down the stretch. Well, it took them, what, 12 rounds, 11 rounds to figure it out, but FaZe seem to have at least got something going for him now.
I guess better late than never. But yeah, it has been laboured to say the least. JKS fortunately has missed the money bags right now for Renegades. Plenty of finances, especially with the saved orc. He's going to have $10,050 to be precise. So he can drop a couple weapons across. Could even drop Gratisfaction and Orb. And of course, speaking of Gratisfaction, this really came off the back of him getting picked, peeking one too many times, being far too aggressive on Banana.
That'll be one, certainly, when he watches it back. I imagine Kassad made a mental note and says, we're going to revisit that round, have a little chat with the young man. Certainly, in the heat of the moment, with all the pressure and everything that, you know, this major brings, it's kind of hard to stop yourself at times.
I will give him credit, though. A lot of people, when under pressure, will go into their shell. It's good to see him still come out aggressively. That bodes pretty well.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think you'd rather fix too aggressive than too timid.
Yeah.
Right?
I feel like too aggressive can be kind of honed in a little bit better with a bit of leadership, with a coach behind you like Kassad. But we'll have to wait and see, because Renegades have 2 more match points. FaZe have already halved it. We're 15-11 behind at one stage. But if Renegades were to concede this round and not save weapons, they would be in real trouble.
Oh, Jacob fighting in the flames as well, into the waiting arms of Nico. He's gotten that pick a couple of times. He seems to really, really enjoy that fight. He's lost it once or twice, but this time comes out on top. Gives up a lot of HP to do it, but he'll be happy with the result. Still 3 players over at A, though they haven't rotated anyone to back up JKS, who, with that smoke down, still gets a lot of information, still has a great perch.
Yeah, it's especially brutal, as I think Jacob had a bunch of grenades. So that's grenades that are now flushed down the toilet. They can't use them any longer. Gratisfaction going to back away, can hear footsteps. A lot of damage has been inflicted on the oncoming terrorists, though. Rain, Guardian, Nico, all feeling the effects. Nico more than the others.
Nico's the big one. It seems like he's been the guy who's been more than willing to take a couple of the entry fights or the first fights to gain new map control. 22-17 for the all-star Bosnian. Ready to smoke towards that B bomb site. One is JKS's reaction. A little bit blind. He has a smoke, no Molotov. They might have to go right through this phase. There's only 30 seconds left on the clock, and that's going to signify the hit is coming, and JKS got to stand his ground. No flashbangs, and he's only able to get 1.
Nearly, but there is another hole that's able to tee off, and Azza wasn't far away.
I cannot believe none of those connected with Nico on 7 HP. You saw it in the X-ray. If they had gotten that kill, that might have convinced them to go for it. That would have been a 3-on-3 scenario, and they would have been in prime position to go for that retake.
Exactly, that's a really good point, because Nico goes down, not only is it an extra play, but it's Nico. It's one of the star players, one of the playmakers that goes with him. Instead, Renegade's going to try and hold on to these 3 guns. It would allow them a buy in the last round. We are going to be going the full distance of Inferno. I've got to say, I did not expect that.
No, I didn't either. Once we really got into the swing of the second half, and FaZe, I like this. Go hunt these weapons down. You know the money is low for the last round. Gratisfaction is going to take the narrow angle. Rain is looking for it. Would love to find that headshot. Adren coming in through lane, and no one's looking from pit. Well done from Rain, and they can't pick up the AWP. That is a huge tool out of the hands of Renegades down the stretch into this final round.
There's a guy in pit. What was he doing?
He was hiding. He didn't want to lose his weapon either.
But surely would have prioritized the AWP over an AUG.
They might not have realized one was coming up lane. That communication might not have come in fast enough, but yes, that is heartbreaking. Gratisfaction forced back onto a CZ for this final round, and FaZe Clan, they figured it out. We were wondering if they'd be able to, but they have found the winning recipe here. 3 in a row now for FaZe. This last one would force overtime.
It's been a rough day for Olofmeister, 8-20 with about 40 ADR. And that's where Nico's really picked up the slack. JKS burning a little bit. Grenade does chunk Jacob, couldn't afford to back away as there's a Molotov behind them.
In these last 2 rounds, the opening kill for FaZe has been towards that B bomb site. First Gratisfaction's aggression, then Nico holding his ground against Jacob.
And the retaliation nade's not really doing anything to FaZe Clan. It landed too shallow. Here's another one from Liaz, just tickles Adren for 5 damage. And now only 1 smoke and 3 flashes to play with. Renegades are looking at a drought for grenades at this stage. There's a plethora for FaZe Clan as well. 2 smokes, plenty of flashes, a Molotov.
Oz is playing pretty scared over in CT spawn, though. Obviously not sure they put a lot of pressure on the B-bomb side as well. This is going to make this a little bit of a weaker defense towards lane. Here we go, Vince.
Lias flashed out, been tagged off a bunch, but Granite's faction holds on. The CZ is delivering damage. Here comes Lias. Nearly line up for 2, but Guardian somehow, someway. Close range dispatches of Azza. They're going to be able to get the bomb, and that was such an important kill with only 10 seconds left. JKS going to wait for this smoke to clear alongside Jacob. They've got to go for it. And although Olaf is low, Guardian has gone down. This is very possible now for Renegades. They've got themselves 2 kits as well, and plenty of firepower for Master and Orc. Olaf goes peeking a couple of times, does a bit of damage, but nothing significant. It's not going to stop Renegades from pushing, but they're both together. They're cloaked up. It's going to be a one-dimensional retake, and they need to get some damage on right now. It's going to be going down. It's all on Olaf Meister. He's had a rough map, but he has to stand tall, and he can't deliver. Renegades have done it in the final round allocated 16-14.
Oh, what a hold onto that A bomb site. A beautiful crossfire as well towards Pit. Dealt so much damage, but it's that kill in the 2-on-3. Jacob able to pin down Guardian, and Pit eliminate him. Low HP Olaf cannot do enough to distract for a Dren inside this site.